Good evening, everybody. Tonight I am going to make bacon cheeseburger bites, croissant bites, and you put this in the oven. First thing you're going to do is we're going to brown our hamburger meat with some onion. I didn't put down my seasonings, but my normal salt, pepper, garlic, and my crazy mixed up salts. So we're going to season our meat with this. We're going to put onions in it. After it gets cooked, we're going to cut up, this is pre-cooked bacon. I'm just going to chop this up into small pieces. I'm going to mix it in there. I'm going to shred some cheese. And then we'll put it together on the croissants and put it in the oven. So I'm going to get the meat kind of started. I'm also going to make a garlic aioli. I'm going to be just using mayo. I'm going to pre-cook the garlic to make it softer so it's not raw. It'll be a little bit sweeter, and some olive oil, and then I'm going to use lemon juice, and we'll taste it from there. So let me get started with my meat, and we'll go to the next process. Okay, so now that your meat is browned, it's with your onions and salt, pepper, mixed up seasoning salts, garlic, anything you want to put in it. Now, you don't have to put the onions in, if you have people who don't like onions. I like the way it adds the flavor. So once you get your meat browned, you're going to go ahead and add your bacon in. Now, you can also use the real bacon bits. Now, don't get the imitation ones, but if you've got real bacon bits, if you don't have any bacon on hand, that's fine as well, because you're just kind of boosting up the flavor a little bit. So I'm going to get this kind of stirred in, and we're going to set it to the side, and we're going to get our dough ready, because you want this cooled down, a little bit so that you can work with it. So I'm going to get this stirred up a little bit, let it cook in, and I'm going to set it aside, and we're going to cut up okay, just real quick, so that I can get all these cut so they don't get mushy. All you're going to do is you're going to split these in half. Okay, so you're going to make, instead of having one big croissant, you're going to have two smaller ones. Okay, so I'm going to get these cut up, and then before I add the meat, I will be back. Okay, so this is kind of a little bit of the hard part, I guess. You're going to want to kind of flatten this, make this a little bit bigger on the end, and you're just going to you're not going to be able to put much on there, and be ready to have clean hands, because you're going to have to kind of make sure it stays on the thing right there. You're going to put it at the end. Grab you a little bit of cheese, however much you like. I like the sharp cheddar. I just think it tastes better. It adds better flavor. And then you're going to just roll it up, okay? And then you're going to take the end, and you're going to kind of just pinch it, okay? And then you're going to have it just like this, and you're going to put it in your aluminum covered pan here. Okay, so I'm going to get the rest of these wrapped up, and I'll show you what they look like before they go in the oven. Okay, if y'all been watching me more than a minute, you'll know that I am the first one to admit when something does not go to plan. And I'm not sure if it's because I'm using this store brand croissants. Usually I use Pillsbury, and they're easier, and they seem to be bigger. So what I'm having to do is these, there's no way. I mean, when you cut them in half, they just make them way too skinny, and you can't really put hardly any meat on them. And I mean, you want, they're supposed to be little bites, but you don't want all the meat to fall out. So I'm going to just go ahead and use the whole thing. You still can't put a whole lot, but that's fine. I'm just going to use the one. You put a little bit more than you could before, and then the cheese. And it don't matter if it's messy. I mean, you're gonna drop some and all that fun stuff. So when you wrap it up, you're gonna kind of just try to pinch the edges like that, even on the big ones. So it's still kind of bite-sized, but it's just not as tiny. You can make these a few hours before, put them in the refrigerator, like if you're having company over or a football party, something like that. And then when everybody gets there, you could just pop them in the oven. So it's something you can make, you can make ahead of time. So you're not last minute trying to, while people are at your house or all that stuff. You make it all up, you get it all ready, put it in the refrigerator so the dough don't get, icky. And I would say 2 hours. You could do it probably 2 hours ahead of time. And again, you're just, it don't matter if some spills out, and it don't matter. So we're just gonna make these as cute as we can and get them in the oven before this this dough gets any soggier. I would not recommend the off-brand dough. I would say go with Pillsbury. Okay, so I got them done. Again, they're not that pretty now. These are the little miniature ones, and these are going to be, you know, the more regular size. I'm going to put these in the oven at 350 for about 15 minutes. I'm going to keep an eye on it and see how long it takes for this to get all nice and golden brown, okay? And then once this goes in the oven, I'll start the aioli. Okay, I'm just making a little bit, you know, just for a dipping sauce. You can roast this. You can roast your garlic in the oven for 45 minutes for a whole bulb, but I'm too impatient for that, and I just need one. So I'm going to put just a little bit of olive oil in my pan, and I'm going to put my garlic. Now, I did peel this, so what I'm going to do is once it gets hot, I'm going to keep kind of just moving it around until it gets brown on the outside, and that way it'll be soft on the inside. And we will mash this, and we will put it in our mayo and lemon. So let me get this started, and I'll show you how to keep it going. Okay, so now that you see that it's frying, see it's frying like that, you're just going to want to keep it over the heat, and you're just going to want to keep it in that olive oil, okay? So you're just going to kind of have to keep an eye on it, and you're going to wait until it gets soft. So we're going to get this good and browned on the outside, and then I'm going to pull this out, and we're going to mash it before we put it in the mayo, okay? All right, now that it's nice and golden brown, I'm going to take it off of the heat. I'm sorry, my dogs. I'm going to take it off the heat and let this cool down, and then that'll give it time to finish softening up. I'll take it out, move it away from that oil, okay? I'm just going to set it aside. When I'm ready to put together the aioli, I will be right back. Okay, so get you just a little container, whatever you're going to use, and scoop up your garlic, and you can make sure you get some of the olive oil with it, okay? So I'm going to do that, just set it to the side. And again, I'm just going to set this, I'm probably going to put it in the refrigerator so it'll cool faster, because I need to add the mayo, and the mayo, of course, is cold. Sorry, I am so scatterbrained today. You're going to want to mash it first, you know, get all the goodies out of it first before you put it in the refrigerator, okay? So just kind of mash it up. If you need to cut it, just cut it up, but you're going to want to make sure you release all that flavor, okay? Okay, so I got the garlic just kind of broken up and squished, and you're going to add a couple of tablespoons of your mayo. You're going to do a squirt of lemon juice. Now, you can add Dijon mustard to this. You can add honey if you like it sweeter. I might add some salt. I'm going to try this real quick. Yeah, I think I'm going to add a little bit of, just give it a little bit more garlic flavor. I'm going to add some garlic, and I'm going to add a little bit of pepper. And some salt, just a little bit of salt. I don't like more of a sweet aioli, so that's what I'm going to put in mine. But again, and you can also, because, you know, kids aren't going to, some kids like the aioli because they don't know garlic's in it. But if not, you can get, also, I usually with the kids, I put out ketchup and mustard, and, you know, that way they can dip it in anything they want, okay? So this right here should be a nice, see, yeah, and this is my own aioli, so yeah, perfect. So if you need a little bit more lemon juice, again, a lot of people add Dijon mustard to theirs to make it more I don't know, make it stronger flavored, but I just like it like this, okay? You can also make a spicy ketchup with mayo, ketchup, and hot sauce. Real quick, since I am running out of time really quick. They took about 15 minutes to come out of the oven. I should have sprayed this so they wouldn't, you know, be so hard to get off, but you are going to kind of have to use a spatula. I make a very mild aioli. If you like a lot more garlic, if you like other things, go online. There's a whole bunch of recipes for aioli. This is just how I like it because I like it very mild. Now, I will say that I add hot sauce before I give it to my mom and dad because they like it spicy. So, this is a little one. I'm going to taste it real quick. Oh, it's hot. Delicious. Enjoy.